Imagine having financial independence at age 31. Welcome to Tea at Taxevity, where you get insights from insiders who make life better, our many clients and friends. My name is Pramod Sharma, and our guest today is Sean Cooper. Welcome, Sean.
Hi, thanks for having me, Pramod.
Now, please tell us what you do.
I'm a financial journalist. I write for several big blogs, including RateSupermarket.ca, Retire Happy, and I've also done some freelance pieces for the Toronto Star, Globe and Mail, and I've been featured in the Financial Post as well.
hmm And you're rare in several ways. One is that you are open and talking about your finances. One of the leading blogs is Million Dollar Journey, and in that you talked about your net worth and some of the goals you're working towards. And then also you're good at communicating and writing about financial topics, which is rare. And I guess another way you're different is that you're very close to financial independence. And that's the topic that we'll be discussing today. So I just wanted to commend you on the progress you're making in some of these areas.
I appreciate it. I mean, being asked to share my net worth on Million Dollar Journey was definitely an honor. It's like being asked to be a dragon on Dragon's Den, I often say. So yeah, I was definitely happy to be, helping out other people that way. So.
So it sounds like the key thing that you're working on is paying off your mortgage.
Yes, I mean, I see that as the way of achieving financial independence for myself, paying off my mortgage, because if I were to lose my job tomorrow, then I would still have to pay my mortgage and my finances would be put in jeopardy. I might have to sell my house, but as it is now, like once I have my mortgage paid off, even if I lose my job, I'll have other streams of income like my rental income and freelance income to protect me. So that's really what I see financial independence, not having to worry if you lose your job or not.
hmm And how much longer before you've paid off your mortgage?
Well, I purchased my house in August 2012, so in 3.5 years, by the end of 2015, I hope to have my mortgage completely paid off.
That's pretty amazing. Now, interest rates are pretty low these days. Is why is paying off your mortgage your goal rather than doing other things with your money?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people mention that I could probably get higher returns elsewhere in the stock market or with mutual funds or whatnot, but I see paying off my mortgage as a risk management strategy. Uh, my mortgage is something that I have to pay off regardless of whether or not I have a job, but if I were to lose my job, I could always stop contributing to my RSP. So I see paying off my mortgage as a way of reducing my risk, especially since I'm a single person and I don't have a spouse to help me out if I were to become unemployed.
hmm And in order to find the money, you're being frugal in some areas. Can you give us examples?
Yes, I mean, a lot of people when they graduate, they go out and buy the biggest house they can afford and go out and buy a car or two cars maybe. But I basically continued living like a student after graduating. I still do all the same things, pack my own lunch, cycle into work, and I mean, I read an article by Rob Carrick. He said something like the average cost of owning a car in a year is something like $6,000, I believe, and I'm able to only spend a few $100s cycling in and taking transit. So I'm able to take that extra money and pay down my mortgage even faster and get some good exercise with cycling. So I mean, I definitely see it as a good way of paying down my mortgage even faster.
hmm Now, okay, so you're frugal in some areas. Are there any areas where you splurge?
Yes, I mean, my family, I'm definitely thankful for all the help and support that they've offered me towards reaching financial independence. I mean, at the beginning, I guess they questioned why I wanted to pay off my mortgage so soon, but now they seem to encourage me, and I'm hearing them say like when my mortgage is going to be paid off. So it's like I've already achieved it. So I definitely, when it comes to gifts for birthdays and holidays, I definitely splurge on that because I'm been very fortunate for them to help me and support me and help me with renovations around the house. And in exchange, I help them with their finances as well. So we both help each other out and support each other.
Okay, and that's good to see that there's that balance. Now, we were having a discussion before we started recording about what financial independence means. And I think we came up with the thinking that it means that you don't need to work any longer to maintain a lifestyle. And it looks like you're very close to achieving that goal. Now, what would you do after you've achieved financial independence? But like, do you have other goals beyond that?
Well, I mean, I'd like to travel more because I, basically paying down my mortgage. I've been set on achieving that goal, but once I've done that, then I'd like to explore other parts of Canada. Like I've never been to the West Coast before. I'd like to go to Vancouver, and I'm an avid cyclist, so I'd like to cycle around there and explore Europe. I have family back over in the United Kingdom, and I've heard great things about Australia. I'd definitely like to travel there. So traveling is definitely on my bucket list. That's something I'd like to achieve once my mortgage is paid off.
Okay, so there are other goals that you'd want to achieve
Yes.
later. Okay. Now, currently you're living in the basement and you're renting your main floor. Once you're financially independent, do you see moving to the main floor yourself?
Well, I mean, I definitely think it would be silly to live in the basement my entire life because the upstairs of my house is so nice. I mean, the basement is nice, but the upstairs is like newly renovated and all that. So I definitely like to live up there. But until it makes sense, I'm perfectly content living in the basement. Like there's three bedrooms, two bathrooms upstairs. Just doesn't make sense for one person to take over an entire main floor by themselves. I mean, if I were to get married and have a family, then I would definitely do that. But until it makes sense, I'm perfectly happy living in the basement the way I am now.
Okay, and what do you do for recreation?
I mean, as I mentioned, I enjoy cycling and I do. Uh, I play sports as well, so I try to make sure, even though I'm busy with work, I definitely get in a few hours of exercise a day to keep myself healthy, and I try to eat right and all that.
Okay, and what do you do on your vacations?
Well, I enjoy since I'm yeah, even though I could travel to Europe, I choose not to. But I enjoy going around like smaller towns in Ontario and exploring what they have to offer. Like I like going to St. Mary's, Ontario. It has the Baseball Hall of Fame there and has a quarry where you can go swimming. So I enjoy exploring the areas around me. I mean, I don't think it makes sense to travel around the world when you haven't even been to some cities in your own province or state or wherever you live. So, I mean, there's definitely plenty of areas, even in my own city, I haven't been to that I'd like to see.
Okay, yeah, so it makes a lot of sense to explore things near us, and sometimes we're focused on going somewhere else, and people from somewhere else are coming to see what we've got in our areas.
Exactly.
Okay, now your family is supportive of what you're doing with your financial goals. What about other people? Have you received feedback from friends or other people on what you're trying to do?
Yes, I have. I mean, my friends definitely are supportive of my goal. I guess it's people that it's like people that read about my story. They don't necessarily understand why I'm doing it. Like the main goal is to achieve financial independence. They think, why would somebody work this hard for 3 4 years when they could be traveling? But I see it as like working hard for 3 4 years and then being able to enjoy the rest of my life, 50 60 years after that. So I see it as short-term pain for long-term gain. So at least it works for me. I mean, for other people, they might rather enjoy their youth traveling around, but for me, that I'm perfectly content, working hard for a few more years to be able to enjoy the rest of my life after that.
Okay, and where did you get the idea to become financially independent so early in your life?
Well, I guess a lot of people, personal finance bloggers and such, they have goals of like paying down their debt. And with myself, I didn't really have a story to tell, so I basically always wanted to own a house, and I thought that uh, like once I started becoming a successful freelance writer, I got so much work that I could turn it down at one point in time because I was so busy, and I just thought, why not take on as much work as I could, and that way I could pay down my house faster and basically have my mortgage paid off. So that's basically the idea. Like when I first bought my house, it wasn't the idea of being mortgage free at 31, but I guess after being successful in my freelance job, I got that idea one day.
Okay. And are there any financial risks that could get in the way of you achieving your financial independence? I'm thinking of, say, something like a disability.
Yes, definitely. Like for myself, I don't have a spouse or a family, so like life insurance doesn't really make sense for myself. But disability is definitely a big thing. Like I believe I heard a stat that one third of people will be disabled for 90 days or more in their lifetime. So that stat definitely hit home with me. So for myself, like having proper disability insurance is very important because my like I don't have a spouse second paycheck coming in to fall back on if I were to uh, lose my job, and since I cycle to work, I could get in an accident and be out of commission for a while after that. So I definitely think that adequate disability insurance is important. Like sometimes your employer's plan isn't that great, so like I mean, you should definitely read what you have at work and see if you want to top it up with an individual plan if you don't think it's adequate enough.
Right, and the good thing is that where you're working, you do have a plan, so that at least provides some sort of a cushion, which not everyone has. Thanks for sharing all of your advice with us today. Is there a key takeaway for our viewers?
I believe that people have to take a look at their life and set a long term goal about what they want to achieve. I mean, it's not just about making money for the sake of making money. You have to have some sort of long term thing that you want to achieve. Like for me, it's financial independence, but for other people, they might value like traveling the world or collecting guitars or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about having something that drives you and motivates you to go forward, but still, having that 10% of your income that you put away for your future. Like and I mean, people often think in the here and now, but with your working life, I mean, you might be working for 35 years, but you have to think about that income lasting your entire lifetime. So it's still okay to enjoy your life here and now, but you definitely need to think about the future and put away enough money so that you'll be financially independent one day. I mean, you might not be financially independent at 31 like me, but if you achieve it at one point in time, then it'll definitely open up more doors for you.
Okay, well, thank you for that advice also, and thank you very much for dropping by.
Well, thanks, Pramod. It's my pleasure.
Thanks for joining us for Tea at Taxevity. The Taxevity Insurance Advisory helps you understand insurance and bridges gaps in your coverage. There's no premium for peace of mind. How healthy is your insurance?